Oh, hi there. Um, I was just thinking about a game that I have called An Animal Upon Animal, um, and it shocks and appalls me that people seem to suggest that this is primarily a children's game. I wholeheartedly disagree. It's the most genius dexterity game there is out there, because it's not just about dexterity, it's about creativity. You can really own what you're doing. You're not just doing dexterity things, you're actually doing clever, creative, ingenious things to set people up really nastily, but also to do impossible things that everyone's like, no, you can't do that, and you pick a piece that everyone's like, no, you won't be able to do that, and then you put it on and it's just, because you have to find a way of putting it on and see the possibilities that no one else can think of. I will show you it. And show you more ways in which it's just so good. Okay, I'll just show you a game because it will be simplest this way. So this is a game between 3 players. They each have equal numbers of everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So everyone starts off with 6 pieces. So first person goes and they roll the dice, and they get a question mark, which means everyone else picks an animal for them. So they'll place a penguin here because penguin's the easiest to place. It's also the nastiest to have placed before your go because it's very difficult to put anything on top of this. By the way, you just win by getting rid of all your pieces. So that person does that, then it's this person's turn. They roll this, they roll a 1, so they'll get rid of their sheep because it's big and that'll be more difficult to place later on. Next person goes, they roll a 2, so they have to roll. They have to put on 2 pieces, so they'll probably try and get rid of their sheep, and then, I don't know, maybe they'll try a monkey. But at this point, this here is quite precarious and maybe will be difficult for someone to stack on top of, and this is very difficult to stack on top of, whereas this is easy to stack on top of, so they'll want to place maybe a monkey in a position that is not easy to stack on top of. So see, I'm trying here to stack it here, but it's falling off, so that's not such a good position. Maybe a monkey's not the best idea. Let's try a toucan. There we go. Okay, roll the dice again, get a 1. And see, now it's getting pretty tricky. What do? Probably a hedgehog's fairly easy to place, so you might place that. And you got some options. Do you do that? I mean, the toucan's pretty precarious, but you could do that. Or you could do this. I think this is probably the safest move. They roll a 1. Let's try this one. It's meant to be a lizard or something. It's quite unclear what it is. Let's try it. Yes. Okay, then there's a 1. So, I don't know, this structure actually looks fairly stable. So they'll probably try for a monkey here. And that works. So then this person has rolled, put 2 on. And what are they going to do here? I mean, maybe a snake? This might... could balance things out. And then probably a toucan. Toucans are brilliant because they can perch on pretty much anything, but you still need quite a lot of skill to be able to place them. So, oh, yes, there. And you see how precarious this is all getting. So then, let's say that this wasn't a 1, let's say this was an alligator. Now usually, in the kids' rules, that must mean they add, a piece onto the base of it, which in a kid's game makes sense because kids probably aren't going to be able to create impressive structures like this. They're going to need the extra little piece. But we don't need the extra little piece because this is just going to make the game take forever, because if a lot of alligators are rolls, like, just animals will be added on and on and on, and the structure will never collapse. So we just treat an alligator, or whatever it is, like a 1. But let's say in this instance they roll a hand. A hand means that you hand one of your pieces to someone else. So let's have a think. What's the nastiest piece we can give? Well, a monkey's pretty massive. But it's also got a lot of nice nooks and crannies. Like, it's quite easy to place just because of its shape. It's got a lot of easy things. Whereas this is, I mean, how do you put this on things? You know, it's got a very straight thing here. So you can be really mean to someone, and you can, because you basically hand it to the person who's doing best, and this person's doing best because they only have 2 at the moment. So you give it to them and hope that they mess up. So we'll give it to them, and this person then has to come up with ideas that the other person hoped were not possible. This seems like the simplest placement. Yeah, that works alright. Okay, then it's this person. They roll a 1. Wow. What do they do? They might try to place a snake, and this is where it gets interesting. How do you place a snake anywhere here? Well, let's try doing this. You see how creative you have to be in this. You know, this structure is impossible to place anything on top of, and this person's just rolled a 2. In fact, they win the game if they get rid of these 2. What are they going to do? So, following on the snake's lead, we're going to try and put it here. Well, that's a pity. So, now, in the normal rules, what you do is the person who failed takes 2. But in our rules, what's going to happen is the person who fails takes 2, so they're going to take this penguin because it's easiest to place. And I'm going to take a toucan because I just love how fun the toucan is to place. You can really place it in places that are impossible to place. It's genius. A lot of people like the snake a lot, so, and the upgraded rules that I play with say that, right, this person sets this person up to fail because they were the player before. So they don't get penalised, whereas to keep the game going, to make sure that people don't just lose all their pieces really quickly, this person also has to take just a single piece. So they're going to take the snake because they like snakes. And then it just keeps going and going until someone loses pieces. So that's the game, and it's just fantastic, you know? The sheer creativity involved is amazing. You really, like, the structures you make are really beautiful and really unique each time. There's not, like, standard ways of doing things, apart from maybe, like, always placing the sheep on the bottom. Although if you keep a sheep, it means you can be really mean to people later, if you roll the hand, because then you can hand them a sheep, and how are they going to place the sheep? Yeah, it's just, a lot of us really like this. We have a lot of respect for this game. The pieces are gorgeous. The only problem with the pieces are, although it's like, it's got pictures on this side, doesn't have pictures on this side, which is annoying, and a bit of a pity. But every piece is unique and really interesting and has a life of its own. It's just a really pleasing game. It's a bit short, but then again, who cares? Because you just can play again. But yeah, you've got the dexterity, and the dexterity is really challenging, and you have to be very creative about it, and I've never seen a game like it. It's wonderful.